Welcome to the Adapt or Die podcast. This podcast explores ideas related to self-growth, finding meaning, and living a more fulfilled lifestyle. It's your host, with the most, Armel Tala.
And it's your host, on the low, Ben Smith. We're two college students on our own path of lifelong learning with the hope that you will join us in our journey. And now, it's time for the next episode of
The Adapt or Die podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Adapt or Die podcast. And Ben, school just started. How's it being back in college?
It feels really good. I'm happy to be back, see everyone, do my thing, see people. But yeah, I'll be honest, I think you feel this too. I feel kind of unproductive. I have not been getting things done.
Yeah, for a podcast, it's about productivity. Well, we are about productivity and a bunch of whole other things we haven't even explored into, the financial and the whole philosophical other parts of the podcast. Other ideas we want to explore. But yeah, for us spitting about productivity, it is hard to be productive.
No.
During the catch-up. I call it the catch-up week before school, because everybody moves in at the same time, and then you're all like, hey, yo, get it? I got people hitting me up that I was like, okay, we ended off on a cool note, but that don't mean we got to pick back up on you can wait a little bit, so... But that's a very boring answer, man. I was ecstatic. I'm trying to think of big words now. I was super fragilistic, expedited, whatever. But I was super excited because I have one class in person, and the difference of having an actual class in person to online is just, I forgot that was a thing.
No, my thermo class, my second class, my teacher came in and he was like, all right, guys, so one of your class members already has COVID and one of your TAs has it already as well. I was like, already?
Bro,
it would literally been 48 hours since school started.
It's crazy. For all those, by the time you guys listen to this, we will probably be a smooth month into school. So hopefully this podcast is being helpful, especially what we're talking about today. Because I think, to me, I'm happy. I'm actually super happy I decided to make this the topic that we talked about before school started. And I'm actually still getting through the reading on it. I'm almost done. But this is probably really helpful. And what's the topic today, Ben? Let the people know.
The topic today, guys, is how to think deeply.
No, that's the philosophical one. That's the philosophical.
Oh, wait, what?
Is it think deeply?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, no.
Today's topic is about doing deep work.
It's about not thinking deeply, but working deeply. And let me say, the amount of times he used deep, then we're doing it based on a book called
Deep Work.
And it's Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World by Newport. But to begin with, I think it's important to define what deep work is. It just seems like you're throwing deep in front of some word, and you're ooh, cool.
I feel like this really resonates with you, so I'll let you take that away.
Deep work. To simply put, I'll give you guys the book definition. Professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limits. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. All this is saying is you have something difficult you need to do. You need to do it undistracted, no phones, nothing, completely you have to be isolated. It's not even you isolate yourself, get the work done, and it's something that's difficult, and it's work that you can't just
Wait, so I can't work with my friends?
Really? Huh?
I can't work with my friends? I
No,
can't do that?
Your friends are a distraction.
My phone?
Your phone?
I can't eat? What? Watching TV?
You could take a 5-minute break.
Can I go pee?
5-minute break. But but what's different? What's different here is there's deep work, and then there's
Shallow work?
Shallow work.
That was such a funny name.
Very spicy names. He thought a lot about those.
I feel like he was at the beach when he wrote this. He was deep work. Shallow work. And he was like, sounds like a good name.
But yeah, to summarize it though, shallow work is the definition from the book is non-cognitively demanding logistical style tasks often performed while distracted. These efforts tend not to create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. And I think like what's really important is the value creation that he's talking about. With deep work, you're doing something that will produce something valuable to either you or someone else, and it doesn't have to be like a product, or specifically in the book he talks a lot about like professional work, but I think it also can be related to schoolwork. Like
definitely
the value you're producing from the work you're doing in school is like good grades that will either tell that you're mastering something, or it might be helpful to showing, I don't know, people that are looking at your resume and being like, oh look, he has a 3.9, very fancy.
All right, so we have these two words, deep work, shallow work, but why are we defining these two types of work, Mel? Like why are we going through all the trouble of like trying to separate out like deep work and shallow work?
That's a great question, because at first you're like, isn't all work the same, right? It's like,
what do you mean
why are
different?
we identifying them? But it's because we're shifting into what they call the information age, and that mainly just means that a lot of the work that's being done isn't like manual labor. It's more based on like information, either you producing something creatively, like novel writing, making movies, or it can be with like a lot of what software companies doing, using data. So again, information being used to produce value out in the world.
Right.
And this is restructuring the economy, because in order to be good with information, there's like, it's not the same as doing manual work. You can do manual work pretty shallowly, but so because there's this reconstruction happening in the economy, there's gonna be two types of people that are gonna be at top.
Only two.
I mean,
I need to listen carefully.
There's a third one. You got to be rich, but that's like a given. Everybody knows that.
That's old money. We don't talk about that.
Old money. No, we want new money now. But so there's two types of people, and that's highly skilled workers, people that are like learn like really master a skill, or like are good at with multiple skills, and then there's superstars. And this is really the same as highly skilled, except these superstars, they're like masterful in one thing. Like an artist, like if you want to be like a superstar artist, and that's because like not everybody is going to be a successful artist, only those at the very top.
Yeah.
And so the reason why we're identifying these different types of work is that the two type of people that are at the top, they use deep work in order to gain the skill, in order to become masterful or something, in order to produce the best, be a superstar in that.
And then let me rewind real quick. On the highly skilled workers, it's highly skilled knowledge workers, specifically in the areas of dealing with AI and kind of robotics, just because that's where the world is heading. So if you can know a lot about computers and using them, because they're going to be used for literally everything.
And everything is going to be automated.
It's going to be automated. So if you can learn how to program, how to automate these computers, how to do, it's like not necessarily computer science, but
think WALL-E.
Yeah.
Like literally, like think WALL-E, except hopefully the world isn't trashed. Like
that's hopefully.
Like
we'll see.
Hopefully the world isn't trashed.
I'm not
that's
so
how
optimistic on that.
I you know what? I have faith in humanity.
We'll try.
But so in order to like really, I guess, be these two types of people, I feel like is there like a certain type of things I need to do to become those type of people, Ben?
Well, there's two skills that you're going to need to be able to do in this new information age. And the first thing is you're going to have to be able to master difficult things very quickly.
I think that's the funniest thing ever. It's like, you're like, hey, yo, so what's an important skill to have? The ability to learn new skills. You're like,
wait, what?
Isn't that why I'm here?
I can learn a skill, not learn how to learn a skill.
But again, that's super important.
Right, and it comes in like from the information age. Like things are changing so fast. You guys have seen this, even with our parents. Their lives have changed so much from the start to from when they were born to where they are now. And our lives are going to be, it's going to change drastically from now until hopefully, at least like 60. Hope you guys make it that far. If not, though, well. Hopefully I make it that far.
If not, don't worry. We're gonna drop some nutrition videos, and you'll be able to make it that far. Okay, right. This seems pretty intuitive. It's like okay, like I need those.
Wait, hold on. I didn't get the second one.
You didn't get the last one?
Yeah, okay. The first one was master things quickly. The second thing was produce at an elite level, which is basically just like being a superstar, like producing high quality, very voluminous work.
Sorry, I hope people see like the connection between number one, mastering things quickly, highly skilled worker, right?
Right.
So mastering a new skill like with the information age, and two, producing at an elite level. Those are superstars. Superstars produce at elite level. But so as a question I was asking before, this seems pretty intuitive. It's like, okay, I need to be skillful and I need to be like really good at what I'm doing. I think everyone already knows that, but like, why is deep work? Why are we even talking about deep work? Like, what makes it so important?
Right, and it's like to be able to carry out those two skills and to be a superstar or a highly skilled knowledge worker, you have to be able to do deep work. It's not a question of this is a must. Like, honestly, deep work is integral to being valuable in our changing economy. Like, that's something that's coming. If you haven't seen that shift, I promise you it's coming. You've already seen the shift towards computer science, AI, robotics, and all this stuff is happening right now. But at the same time, we also have a devaluing of deep work in our society and corporations as a whole. And I think you can touch on this. Why is deep work becoming more rare in our economy or in our society?
And then really, the way Cal Newport explained it is there's really three big things. And then when you're talking about the world of there's business, there's three things within the world of business. But I think number one, most obvious, is social media. Like distraction. Social media, technology, Netflix. We just have so much things that can do, so much shiny things around us. Like, ooh, shiny. Like, I feel like everyone's like the one dude from the Lord of the Rings. It's like,
I'll be honest, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
Not me really, but
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like my precious. Damn, we are both like out of touch people.
No, we are.
But then in terms of the business world and why, like, and you would think like, if deep work is so important, and remember, guys, the reason why I feel like we're saying deep work, but maybe we're not explaining it enough, like him saying that you need master skills quickly and produce at elite level. If you're able to do those in a continuous and undistracted state, you are going to be able to learn things quickly and produce the best quality compared to if you're distracted. I think that's obvious. Just want to make sure. But in terms of business, which you would think would value those, they don't. And there's three reasons why. Is one, the metric black hole. And so Cal Newport explained this to be things that you can quantify, like productivity that can be quantified. Because if you're told to, like, I need you to have this done, and the person completes it, but then like you look at the parts in between, like how did they actually go about completing that? There's not really a lot of ways to quantify that, because some people may be distracted and then they're distracted on their phones, or then some people are, super focused. Like it's very hard to quantify that. Therefore,
and it's also like in manual labor, it's really easy because it's like how much did you produce? But in like knowledge work, basically the new type of work that everyone's going to be doing, how much new knowledge or analysis did Jill do today? It's like you just don't know.
And how well is that analysis? You don't really know until you get the end product, and there's no way to keep track of it in between. So that makes it hard for employers and people in businesses to understand, like, oh, is what we're doing, is this strategy we're using the best strategy? It's like, no, it's probably not. And it's, again, you can't quantify those things, therefore they don't really make a change on that. And then principle of least resistance is pretty easy. People are going to do the easiest thing. You're going to go the path that is the easiest, least resistance, not going to push too much back on you. And most of the times that's doing shallow work. That's, once you feel the urge of checking your phone, you instantly do it. Last but not least, busyness is a proxy to productivity. Simply put, just because you are busy does not mean you are being productive. And that's a lot of people fill their time up with busy work that actually doesn't produce anything of value.
Yeah, and both of the things you just said kind of play into the first one in terms of like the metric black hole, because we have a hard time measuring what's important or what's integral to getting our results. Then we don't really know what to focus on. So we focus on things that just come easy to us instead of focusing on the most important things, because we don't know what those things are. Yeah. Right. And then the busyness as a proxy for productivity, it's, you're picking the path of least resistance. So you're just checking email or going and having a meeting. You want to feel productive, but you just don't know exactly.
I'm pretty sure a bunch of college students understand this. And it's because it's that moment. It's that moment when you got homework to do, but you decide to clean your house, get groceries, do set up your calendar, everything else but what's actually supposed to be important. That is busyness as a proxy for productivity.
That's exactly what that is.
But I must ask, what is the hypothesis of deep work?
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys the deep work hypothesis, the argument that Mr. Newport made for the entire book. This is how it goes. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare at the same time that it's becoming increasingly valuable in our economy. As a consequence, the few who cultivate the skill of deep work and make it a core of their working life will thrive. And not just thrive, like you will be levels above the rest of society. Like completely above.
Can you say this in like normal people? Like you sound
right.
like a robot.
No, my bad. I wanted to give you the whole thing. But
I feel you.
You're right. basically, because the economy is changing, deep work is going to be very important for you to be able to have to produce value in your career. Mm-hmm. So to be able to provide really high quality work, you need to be able to focus and produce work at a high level, which is basically deep work itself.
And I think people should just think about it this way. Like, if Jimmy is on his phone and he's on his phone 90% of the times and you are on your phone only 25% of the times, and y'all both have to do the same thing, guess who's doing it faster? Guess who's doing it better? And if you do it faster, that means you can pick up that means obviously you don't want to like put too much work on yourself, but you can pick up new work, you can get things done a lot faster, and you're valued more than Jimmy because Jimmy's distracted. So
Jimmy's not doing shit.
Jimmy's not doing anything. But I think one of my favorite parts in this book, dude was talking about, okay, so I know what to do, like, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, okay, so I know deep work's important. I need to have concentrated, uninterrupted, long periods of time just working on something difficult, right?
And also, real quick, I just want to can you give one example of deep work and one example of shallow work, just so people know, like, for real, like, just with crystal clear clarity of what this means.
Okay, something in deep work, and I'll give you guys 2 examples of deep work. So from a college student perspective, let's say for most people, STEM is pretty cognitively demanding. And so that's like solving a whole bunch of math problems. Like, you probably want to solve those math problems like all at once, uninterrupted, as focused as possible, because you'll get it done a lot faster and you'll get in the state of flow. That's like deep work for college students. For people that are working in the professional, it's like writing a book. Writing a book would be the best example, as you don't want to be checking your emails, like interrupting the whole story you had, or the sentence that you had going, because you're too busy pop up and you check your emails. Now, shallow work, this is something that can relate to students or not. This is more like planning out your week. Like, you're setting your schedule for the day. You're checking different emails, like checking emails. Like, that's shallow work.
And it's not to say that shallow work isn't important. It's not that it's not useful. There's a time and place for shallow work, and no one is doing deep work. That's the point. The point is that we should be doing deep work more, and we're just doing too much shallow work, if that makes sense.
And I think it's easy, even hitting more on the point being that deep work produces things that will produce value.
Right.
While shallow work is like, okay, you're scheduling your week, but that's not producing anything. Yeah. You finishing your math homework is producing a potential, mastery of whatever that class you're doing.
Right.
You writing a book that's producing value out there in the world of people going to read it. So that's like the biggest difference when we really are talking about deep and shallow. It's not like the importance of it, but what does that work provide?
What's the impact of that work?
What is the impact of that work? That's the best way to put it. But so we know what to do. How?
What's the first step, Mel? If I'm wondering how to do deep work, what's the first thing that I should do?
I think you guys are gonna love this answer. You're gonna love this answer. Work deeply.
Hold on, what?
Just work deeply, bro.
That's your answer?
Why do we like to complicate things? we just like to I'm kidding. No, that's actually what Newport put on his step number 1 was work deeply. And starting off, number 1, when he's talking about working deeply, yes, it's like, okay, work deeply, but he actually provides some ways for you to start. And number 1 would be kind of he presented different philosophies about how you can work deeply, but really only one would apply to most people, and this is called the rhythmic approach. And it's simply meaning like you get into a rhythm of working deeply every day. So you pick a time. You pick like a time during the day, preferably the morning, that you would go in and have like an hour and a half of you just completely focused, no phone, put it away, mute it, everything like that, and just work on something that's really important, that's that you really need to get done on that day. That's rhythmic. And the second was kind of what I brought up. He called ritualizing it. So you want to get your body, your mind into this state where it recognizes when you're about to have a deep work session. So something as simple as like having the same place where you go do your deep work, the same time where you go do the deep work, and then and then some cues like, you get your cup of coffee, you sip on it in the morning, and you start your deep work, or you stretch before you do your deep work, or you finish work, like you work out before and then you do. So having that set place, and then also like a cue that your body's like, oh yeah, it's time for us to start the deep work. And but lastly,
one thing I want to interject real quick. I will say that one thing we kind of all but like undervalue is the importance of just having silence when you're working. Like don't have like music with words during this time. Like, this is not for you to like, you're not chilling, you're not like, don't be hanging with your friends while doing this work, don't be in a place that's loud. Like, go to a library, go somewhere where it's quiet and you can really focus. Sorry to like
you're good. Some people have the wild skill of being able to study in a super busy area, but make your life easier.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, but even then, like, even if you could study in a super busy area, I would argue you would still get more work done in a silent area. So then you're like, why would you go to a busy area anyway if you can? But yeah, keep going.
And then last but not least, before Ben so nicely interrupted, was focus on what's like wildly important during that deep work session. So, you know, for a lot of college students, it's going to be, you probably have an exam or homework that you really need to get done. You should probably do that. And especially for your more difficult class, like the point of deep work is you want to do the most difficult thing, the thing that like a lot of times you'll put off, and just set that hour and a half and just really just go at it. Just know, even if you really don't make progress to it, as long as you spend an hour and a half just sitting there cognitively thinking about it, like you're going to make some type of progress.
Absolutely.
Whether it's at that first deep work session, or maybe it's the next, or maybe it's like you go back and check it out later on in the day. And now, second, this is probably, I think you can talk about this second point, because I feel like you have a better mastery of being okay with this, because I'm very bad at this.
Yeah, the second point is Newport titled it "Embrace Boredom," and basically what this is, his first point was really that we should be taking a break from focusing, not taking a break from distractions. And so we have so many distractions in our lives, whether it be, your phone. I don't want to call your friends a distraction, but in a way,
they are distractions.
In some ways they are, and you have to. No.
They are distractions.
Your phone. There's so many ways that you can be distracted in life, and so we need to be able to sit down and do work. And if you can get in the habit of just focusing, and then taking a break from that focus to do, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, you go screw around, listen to music, go watch a YouTube video, you watch Cody Co or something, I don't know, whatever you like, whatever floats your boat, bro. The point here was that we are so overstimulated, right? And so you need to be able to be okay with actually being bored sometimes as well. So you don't always need to be filled with the most entertaining thing. You don't always need to be walking around with something, new information. We have this like affinity with novelty every day. We want to have something new, something that's with us all the time. Be okay with like not thinking about literally anything. Be okay with like walking around and just being with your own thoughts in your own head, and that's going to help you focus and be actually just to be a better person.
We're gonna have to do a meditation episode, because that's exactly what meditation is. Just be okay with your thoughts running through your head. That's why I shower a lot, because one, I want to be clean, but two, I just like thinking deeply. Okay, but I also think on that point too, it's like, that you have not embraced boredom when your phone buzzes and you just automatically grab it.
That's true. I mean,
like, unless like the notification is a text, like, but if it's just like some random buzz and you just like instantly grab it because you're like, I'm bored, you have not embraced boredom, and your phone controls you.
Yeah, no, if you are reflexive to your phone, anytime you get bored, if you're at a social event or you're outside and, you're like, oh, I don't have anyone to talk to or whatever, and you immediately reach for your phone, who's controlling you? You or your phone? Just a question. I'm not judging. It's just a question.
All I'm saying is habits are for loops happening in the background, and your phone has control of that for loop. Now, some people will get that, some people won't.
Most people won't.
I told some other person I was interning with that. He was another like coder, and he was like, "Yo, you blew my mind." I was like, "I know," because I was trying to prove to him simulation. But on to something more similar to that, and that's social media. Oh my god! Over this progression of this podcast, I might start sounding like Ben.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Depends who you are.
That's fair. So social media, guys. I don't want to be too harsh on y'all, but basically, we have a lot of tools at our disposal in life. Social media and our phones is one of them, and they can be used for good or for bad. And I would argue that most people do not use them well. And the point here is that when you are doing work, anytime you switch from one task to another, there's what's called attention residue. So that means that it's going to take you around 15 to 20 minutes to be able to fully immerse yourself into the work that you're going to be able to do. And anytime you go check your phone, anytime you go, you get distracted real quick, that's going to reset that attention residue, and now you can't focus. So, if you're in the middle of work and you check your phone, for example, and then you see something on Instagram and you're like, oh my gosh, my friends are having fun, and then now you're thinking about them. Now you're not thinking about math problems. Now your deep work is just you're done. So the point here is not that social media is inherently bad. The point here is that it is a huge distraction, or it can be. So just use it wisely and make sure that when you're doing work, it is not distracting you. Okay, put your phone in a different room, different corner, whatever. Turn it all the way off. Whatever you need to do, make sure that it's not taking up your focus time for deep work.
And ask yourself this question: why am I using it? Let's just like ask yourself that, because for me, that's when it really like clicked. Because I was scrolling through and I was like, wait, why am I scrolling through this feed? Like I don't like half, like not even half. It was literally 90% of the people I saw on that feed. Yes, I followed some people, so I was seeing more people that I actually knew. But even then, I was like, what they're posting has no value at all. Even like they're not telling you a catch up of like their life, like, oh my god, like, this is what happened, I'm doing good in school, yada yada. It's not like you're it's not that. They're just posting some pretty cool picture. They probably spent 2 hours thinking of a caption that just like there is, they thought it was the dopest caption ever, and then you read it, you double tapped it, and then after that you're done, and then now you're scrolling to the next. It's all a trap.
24 hours after this podcast airs, you're gonna lose all your Instagram followers. You're gonna be like, there we go.
I never needed them, and they never needed me.
They never.
But last but not least, this is probably something that I myself, as a very OCD person, has taken a bit too far. Maybe not. I don't even think I've taken it too far.
I don't think you have, actually.
I think I've actually taken this great point to a great level, and I'm still working on it. But schedule every minute of your day. Let's pause for a second.
Wait. Lunch?
Yes.
A workout?
Yes.
Friends?
Yes.
Free time?
Yes.
Deep work?
Yes. This is something, but like this is something that's so valuable to me, because I literally wrote down in my own journal, I said, I will not spend any time without intent. Even if that intent is to do nothing, it is intentional. And that's just because I will be comfortable in that time that I'm spending doing nothing, being like, I plan to do nothing at this time. Like I won't be thinking in my mind like, oh, I got to do this homework assignment, or, oh, dang, I didn't do this, and like I'm out right now. Like I will be at peace because I said, no, like this is a part of the plan. Like you guys, when people say like schedule every minute of your day, some people have like this instant like gag reflex, like every minute, like, dude, like how do you I mean, and not every single minute. Like sometimes in my schedule, I'll leave like a 30-minute block between some things.
What if I have to go pee?
You schedule that as well too. I'm kidding. You don't have to schedule using the bathroom. You can schedule things like shower, eating, big tasks, like hanging out with friends. But it's important to do that, because when you don't have a sense of direction for your day, it is so easy to waste that time, and it's so easy to just continue doing shallow work because you just haven't planned anything. And again, we follow the principle. What is it? The principle of least resistance. Yeah. So you're gonna do, within that time that you have free, that you don't have scheduled, you're gonna do the easiest thing. Right. So
that's a really great point. And Mel, what about this? I hear this all the time. People are like, I don't have a schedule. Like I can't handle that much like rigidity.
Yeah.
They can't handle that much rigidness in their day, right? But like, what if someone asked me to do something and I have something scheduled? What would I do? And it's like my best friend and he needs help right there, but I scheduled math homework. It's on my schedule to do math homework. What am I supposed to do, Mel? How do I deal with that?
And again, schedules are not, for that person, schedules are not, it's not set in stone. It's not put out there and being like, yo, if you don't do your math homework at 8 p.m., why are you doing your math homework at 8 p.m.? But if you don't do your math homework at 8 p.m.
That's fine, do my math homework.
Ben, no one cares. If you don't do your math homework at 8 p.m., like the whole world's going to end. That's not, think of your schedule as like a template. It's not an actual like set in stone thing. It's just a template for how like the perfect day. I think Jordan Peterson says something like, you scheduling your day you should practically try to aim it to be the most perfect, ideal way you would want that day to go. Right. And then from there, you adjust. Yeah. So if your friend does really need something, like, yo, oh, okay, all right, I can look at my other schedule, because you've already scheduled out that other week. I like to schedule my week by week. I think it's the easiest way to do it. Definitely. Then you can take that block of time, use Google Calendar, shout out, but you could take that block of time, and
or
then
Notion, shout out,
and you can move it somewhere else, and you can move it to another location and everything like that. And so, just because your day is scheduled does not mean you have to follow it exactly. And definitely. I think that people think like when people say schedule time, they think that, oh, I can only do that. Like, no, you can adjust. Yeah. But it's better to know where you're heading instead of heading somewhere blindly.
Your schedule is not the 10 Commandments. I promise. It's just
It's not.
it is a suggestion from past you about what you should be doing if everything goes perfect. Okay, it is not set in stone. Okay, if something changes, you got new information. Change your schedule because now you have new information about what you should be doing. That's the point.
Those couple of sentences you said were eloquent. Were eloquently said, Ben.
Thank you.
Eloquently said.
Now
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, but that wraps it up.
It was a great book. I'm not gonna lie.
I highly recommend the book. It was it had some really great points. Just kind of really emphasized things that are really important as we talked in the podcast. But if you want to really hammer these ideas home, I definitely suggest you read the book, get some more details on everything,
and then read Ben's blog post about it.
Yes,
read Ben's blog post. We advise watch this, go read it, and then read Ben's blog post because we're coming out with AOD blog post because. I don't know, Ben just wants to be the GOAT in this. Ben just wants to be a GOAT. But could you kind of give a quick recap of everything we talked about?
Quick recap. As we talked about, because deep work is becoming increasingly rare, at the same time that it's becoming much more valuable, we need to focus on deep work if we want to be valued in today's society. Now, if you don't want to be valued, then don't do deep work. And that's okay. You can, if you don't like that, that's cool.
You can be average Joe.
Yeah, you can be average Joe. That's cool. To perform deep work, though, I would say the most important things, set aside 90 minutes or an hour every day, ideally in the morning if you can, to do deep work. Embrace boredom in life. Make sure that you're embracing, get rid of distractions, okay? Don't focus on distractions. And as Mel said, use a schedule, okay? It will help you a lot. Make sure you're on task, on time, and on a mission. That's my school's motto. I'm sorry, I just threw that on you. Anyways.
On task, on a mission, and y'all know, end of the podcast, always the best part. Quotes from our Melicus Milius, and ready. This one's nice. This is from our boy Cal Newport. Clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not matter.
Chef's kiss.
And simply, I think you guys understand this, and we did a whole essentialism video about it, so this really resonates with the previous episode we recorded, or it's the two episodes before this. I think learning.
It was the essentialism video. Yeah, 2 episodes.
We did learning faster before. But again, if you know what's important, it's a lot easier for you to be able to figure out okay, all these other stuff that I thought were important really are not as important when I wrote down. And myself, I like to ask myself this question a couple times during the week, or maybe every 2 weeks in my journal. Just ask what is really important to me? What am I really striving for?
Right.
And so, just word of advice, I highly recommend journaling. We'll probably do a whole nother episode on journaling.
Yeah.
But again, figure out what's important so you can figure out what's not important. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's a quote. And so, guys, thank you for listening to this episode. Deep Work, it's a great book. Again, Deep Work by Cal Newport. Check it out. Follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is Adapt or Die. Follow us on TikTok, AOD Media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. AOD Media. Listen to podcasts, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything you want. But last but not least, guys. We got a treat
for y'all.
We got to check out the blog as well.
The blog too.
But, we got clothes around here. We got clothes. Authentic over deception, meaning you got to be authentic to your true self, to your passion. So why not be authentic and buy some shorts? But these are...
Shameless plug.
For the people. So we're recording this on August 29, 2021. So by the time you see this, they should be out and you should be able to buy them. But this is what they look like.
The black shorts are my favorite. I'm going to get some, maybe 2 pairs. Once I get some money, I'm broke.
Hey, and we're coming out with some basics as well. So maybe you're like, yo, Armel, I don't like the hearts. Why I don't got a girl. I don't got no one to love.
I like the hearts.
Don't worry.
I don't have a girl.
Benny, it's okay. But but check them out. Store aodfashion.com. They're going to be out by the time this video comes out, so I'm not even going to tell you guys about the release date. But again, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the
really
Adapt or Die
appreciate y'all
podcast.
listening.
Ben, any last words?
Just thank y'all so much for listening. It means the world to me and Mel. That's all.
And remember, tell your mama you love her and your dad as well.
All of them.
Peace.